Joining us live. Purnima, you heard what Karti Chidambaram had to say. He's made a very pertinent point. He's asking the question, is the same applied to other convicts?
Has become more of a political. The Delhi parties, the DNK and the ADMK welcome it. However, the Congress and the BJP state units have always opposed the release. Even now, Karti Chidambaram says that premature release does not mean that they are all innocent. Premature release just means that they've been serving prison for more than 30 years and therefore they've been released. But their conviction, that still remains and there's no change in that. And why not challenge the conviction and overrule it is something that the Congress has asked, because they say that the former Prime Minister was assassinated and those who were involved in some way or the other, directly or indirectly, should be treated as accused and not convicts. That's what the Congress has so far maintained, even though Priyanka Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi have time and again said that they have forgiven all of them. The Congress Tamil Nadu unit have always opposed the release of all the 7 convicts, and even the BJP in this particular case has always opposed the release. Only DNK, ADMK have always maintained that they want the release of the 7 convicts because they've been serving prison for more than 30 years. That's what both of them said. But this always has remained an electoral issue and has become more of a political issue ever since Pera Rivalan was released some time ago.
Purnima, what one can't help but notice is the timing of this release. We all know that Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be landing in Madurai in just a few minutes from now. I don't know if he's already landed in Madurai because 2 p.m. was the time that we were officially given. But what do you make of the timing of the Prime Minister's visit and the release at the same time? I know that he'll also be hosted by the DMK politicians as he lands.
Absolutely. The timing is significant because even Nalini's family member, when they spoke to CNN News 18 a short while ago, said that they were not expecting this because the case has been going on for so many days. Remember, ever since Pera Rivalan, another convict was in fact released by the Supreme Court, the other convicts have been taking the legal route, and the case has been going on. And at a time when Prime Minister will be arriving in Madurai Airport a short while from now, exactly at that time, the Supreme Court has now pronounced that all the 6 other convicts will be released. And the timing is significant, and we'll have to wait and see how now the Tamil Nadu government will react, because all the senior leaders from the DMK have so far welcomed the Supreme Court order, and they say that this is something that Tamil Nadu government has always recommended, and they are happy that finally the Supreme Court has in fact helped with the release of 6 convicts in the Rajiv Gandhi assassination.
Also, Purnima, in the interview that Nalini just gave to our managing editor, Zakir Jacob, she has claimed innocence. If you could throw light on the kind of what is the stance that Nalini has maintained so far, and why is she so confidently claiming innocence?
Well, the 7 convicts in the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case, Nalini Sriharan was in fact the prime convict in the case, because it was in Nalini's house that the suicide bomber was staying. In fact, Nalini's mother was also serving prison for some time, and Nalini's release is something that many did not expect because of the kind of evidence that they had, and all of them stayed at Nalini's residence, and that's why the BJP and the Congress said that Nalini cannot be released on the same grounds as Pera Rivalan, because the charges against Nalini have been, in fact, the charges against Nalini is way beyond evidence, is what many of them were saying. But at the moment, until date, Nalini, her family members have in fact said that they did not know anything, and they were not involved in anything that happened before the former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi's assassination, and they are innocent. That's something that Nalini has maintained, her family has maintained. But political parties, especially the BJP and the Congress, and those who lost their dear ones in that particular incident, all of them say that there has been enough evidence to prove that Nalini is found guilty. However, so far she said that all she did was that she was innocent. She did not know that people who stayed in her house were planning the assassination of the then Prime Minister. That's something that Nalini has so far maintained. And remember, when the case was heard, initially from death sentence, it was life imprisonment that Nalini and other convicts got, and then finally the Supreme Court, considering that they have served prison for more than 32 years, they decided to release them on humanitarian grounds.
Absolutely. And it's important to also refer to Perarivalan's case. As far as his release is concerned, the Supreme Court had back then taken note of the governor's inordinate delay in taking a decision on the mercy petition. Could you please also throw light on how crucial the governor's role has been as far as the release is concerned?
Well, the AIADMK government had moved a resolution seeking the release of all the 7 convicts. However, the governor, sources said that the governor was consulting with the Home Ministry to decide on the resolution that the ADMK had passed, and the governor did not give its nod. Even now, when the DMK, when Tamil Nadu government has been at loggerheads with the governor. Sources say that the governor was not really keen to release all of them, considering that it's a very sensitive issue, and that it involves the assassination of former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, and therefore the governor was also looking at the legal hurdles, and which is why all the 7 convicts, through their lawyers, have moved to Supreme Court. First, it was a big relief for Perarivalan, who in fact was released by the Supreme Court, and since then the other 6 convicts we're taking legal routes possible to ensure that they also follow the same legal route that Perarivalan had taken. And today the Supreme Court has in fact made that announcement, a big relief for all the 6 other convicts, but political parties, including the Congress and the BJP, not really happy with this move, especially at a time when Prime Minister will be in Tamil Nadu, in Dindukal district.
And when we are delving deeper as far as the governor's role is concerned, even the Tamil Nadu cabinet back in 2018 had recommended their release, and this opinion certainly seems to have had a binding on the governor and subsequently on the Supreme Court as well. All right, we seem to have lost the line with Poonima, but this is the big story that we're tracking this hour as we have just informed you in the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case. Now all 6 convicts have been set free by the Supreme Court. The accused were found to have good conduct in the prison. Let me quickly go across to Nalini's lawyer, Mr. Radhakrishnan, who's also joining us live right now. Mr. Radhakrishnan, the big question that is being asked is, why has Nalini been claiming innocence when these are convicts that we are talking about?
You see, on 9/9/2018, the government of Tamil Nadu, that is the cabinet decision was, all 7 convicts should be released. That was the decision taken by Tamil Nadu cabinet on 9/9/2018. Within a week or thereafter, the governor ought to have accepted the decision and ought to go sign the order, and they should have been released in 2018 itself. Of course, Nalini was fighting this litigation from 2018 until now. Firstly, in the Madras High Court, now recently in the Supreme Court. Madras High Court took the view, even after the cabinet's decision, the governor's signature is necessary. But according to the Supreme Court's Constitution Bench judgment in Maruram case, if the cabinet takes a decision, that is binding on the governor. So this decision of the Supreme Court's Constitution Bench has now been accepted today by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court seems to have reiterated the Constitution Bench judgment. The cabinet's decision is binding on the governor. Consequently, all the 7 convicts should be released, because Perarivalan, one of the convicts, was already released. Now all the 6 should be released. So this is the view of the Supreme Court in view of the Constitution Bench of the Supreme Court rendered 40 years back. So there is, yes.
All right, Mr. Radha.